Wall of Sound TV, Episode 3, The Internationals Commeth. We are still hanging out at King Lear's Throne here in Brisbane, and this episode is all about the return of our international friends overseas who finally made their way back to Australian shores and teared up our stages. We've got a big exclusive interview with I Prevail. Ebony, how'd you handle that?
Not well.
Yes.
Who are you about to interview?
I Prevail.
Are you nervous?
Yes, I feel sick, but I'm fine. Everything's great.
Actually, it was fine. It was fine. It was good.
And we'll play that for you a little bit later on.
But first up, we have Alpha Wolf's Metalcore Snitches tour, which was amazing.
Huge.
And they also brought down a major draw card who played their own sideshows, and their breakdowns were...
Fit for a King.
Hey, this is Ryan from Fit for a King, and you're watching Wall of Sound TV.
You've just wrapped up your first tour.
Yes.
Down under in what, 8 years it's been?
8 years. Last time was 2014 with Buried in Verona.
Yeah. Was it worth the wait catching up with your fans and seeing them scream the words back to all of these songs?
I don't want to say I liked waiting this long.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It felt great after all this time because you always feel like, you know what, they probably forgot about us and I wouldn't blame them. After 8 years, which I always say, to be fair, 2 of those years are not our fault.
Exactly,
So,
yeah. The pandemic hit.
We'll call it 6 years is our fault.
There we go. Now, one of the great things that I found during the pandemic was chucking on music, finding and discovering new bands. When Everything Means Nothing literally became my running song. And when that breakdown hits of Let This Destroy Me, I just fucking went nuts. Yeah. And I've loved that ever since, so much so it got me to become an instant fan for Fit for a King and go back through the archives with everything you've done. And you're progressively getting better and better with every album that's coming out. This new album is an exceptional return to form for you guys. What's your main motivation right now when it comes to putting out music and accumulating the fan base worldwide?
This album, I think we really wanted to go back to our roots as far as like more breakdowns. The biggest thing, which you probably noticed, it's very emotional, like Dark Skies and Death Grip.
It was a bit of a callback to the Dark Skies stuff.
Yeah.
You've got the melodic, clean singing, you've got the breakdowns, you've got the screams. There's even some really dark growls in there. Are you pushing yourself more so nowadays because that's what the scene wants? That's what the metalcore community wants from you?
I think it's a mixture of, I know that's what people enjoy right now, and I did grow up in deathcore bands. Like most of the local bands I played in were deathcore. So it's always something I've enjoyed doing, and I was kind of excited to see deathcore making a comeback with bands like Lorna Shore, Brand of Sacrifice, Shadow of Intent.
1056 doing nuts with Aaron Matz. Like, honestly, it's gone from being this, how do I put this, a kind of band and genre that was shied away from the public, and now it's getting much more credibility alongside metalcore. It's literally becoming a go-to genre, and it's great to see these bands rising up and, you know, proving you don't have to be a heavy band and have a specific fan base. You can be palatable and people will appreciate it.
I completely agree. So I was kind of excited to see it's coming back. It's like, all right, I better dust off some of the lows and get them back in commission.
And we saw as well on social media throughout your tour that you did some pig squeals too, which was very appreciated. Will you be doing more of these in future because of the fact that it's such a tantalizing thing that we want?
Maybe I'll put them on a record in the future, but I'll keep bringing them live.
Yep,
don't worry about
that.
Good. It's kind of nice to see people like them again.
Yeah,
so
I guess they've sort of been missing from our lives, and now we get a taste of them here and there, kind of thing. And you do them with perfection, so you need to hone in on that. You need to not forget that you can do this, and you're one of the best at doing it.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'll give credit to Brian Garris and Will Ramos. They brought the animal noises back.
Exactly,
you had Brian with the bark and Will with the pig. I wouldn't even say a pig squeal. He just straight up made pig noises. He's
demonic, isn't he?
Yeah, it was crazy.
One thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that you really gave Australia something special. Eyes Roll Back was a brand new song that you debuted here. What was the strategy behind showing that to us first out of everyone in the world?
We were just like, the first thing was we think it's just a really fun, heavy song. It's really fun live, and we were like, you know what? It's our apology letter to Australia for waiting so long to come back. So We're sorry, Australia. We hope you accept our apology in the forms of eyes roll back.
Well, there's blast beats, there's breakdowns, it's fucking everything you want from a heavy metalcore song. Yeah. So it's definitely greatly appreciated. And that was the first taste that we got for this album, which then led into Reaper, the single that you put out, which, once again, another fire fucking track. Obviously, everyone wants heavy, and this is the criticisms that the scene wants. They just want bands to go heavy with every release that comes out. Is this something that you pay attention to, or are you just making music that the band wants to make because this is what you've been doing for so long?
I definitely listen to what the fans have to say. If it's constructive, I'm always completely open to it. Obviously, when somebody's like, your band sucks, it's like, what?
It's a bit hard,
nothing I can work with on that. So do you want to tell me why? Because at the end of the day, like, our fans have been with us now for over a decade, some of them. And I think we owe it to them. People that have our logo tattooed on their body, lyrics tattooed, like, we always want to take their opinion in and try to implement that where we can in new music.
And give back to them as well, because, you know, they helped you get to where you are, but also, you know, you want to branch out and try different things.
Yeah.
The path saw you guys head in a more melodic metal kind of direction. This new album sees a return to metalcore. I think, honestly, you're just a fantastically well-rounded band, and the current lineup that you have really showcases the talent that Fit for a King has to offer, and then some. Yeah. Like, where could you potentially take this on top of where you've already been?
I mean, we've thrown around the idea of, like, we should do a deathcore EP for fun.
Yeah, just for shits and giggles?
Yeah, just, you know, I think people would like it.
Yeah.
And this record, I think everything's a mixture of what we want to play mixed with what we believe our fans. Obviously, we won't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
But this album was the most honest record as far as, like, emotionally and stuff. And when it called for sad, we made it sad. And when it called for heavy, we made it heavy.
Because you've got a fantastic mix on there. You've got the heavy songs, you've got the melodic ones, the ballad-esque ones too. And it really showcases your diverse range. The heavy stuff, the melodic stuff. Are you constantly still trying to push yourself as a musician to you know, hit the high notes that you haven't had the chance to hit before, that kind of thing? Or is it more about the emotional delivery of the lyrical content?
I think as a vocalist, my goal is to be a vocalist that can do everything.
Yeah.
And I think each record I add something new, whether it's like this record, there's a guttural on it. And, or there's higher singing notes and stuff. Like, I try to push myself, but a big reason for wanting to push myself is when I'm feeling an emotion, I want to be able to properly deliver that vocally and not just have, like, I view each scream as like a tool in the tool chest. I want to have a bunch of different tools I can pull out when needed.
And those different sounds, the different growls, the different screams express a different kind of emotion that you're going through with the delivery of those songs, which is something that you're going to hear on this new album, The Hell We Create. Now, it kicks off with a heavy return to form, but then the last song, it just beautifully captures the story of what you're trying to tell. What was the inspiration behind this album, and how did that shape the way it progressed to what it is now?
This whole album, for the most part, is dark because it's about my niece and nephew, or now my son and daughter. During the pandemic, we fostered our niece and nephew, and then we eventually adopted them. And a lot of the record is the turmoil we see through the PTSD they've experienced through the abandonment of their parents and just shelters and foster homes and all that. So songs like the last track, What You Left Behind, is like me talking to their parents.
Right.
And then the chorus is kind of their perspective of what I've seen them going through. So a lot of the songs are extremely deep and sad.
And see, this is a subject matter that anyone can jump on, whether it be abandonment issues with your parents, your family. You know, this is something that the majority of us go through on a daily, weekly basis, I guess, that kind of thing. And it's what we take from that song and how we relate it to our own personal stories. And I think that's one of the great things about the metalcore scene, is the fact that we can latch onto anything and relate it to what we're going through, get past that moment, and then have it serve as like a snapshot in time, I guess.
And I think a big goal of our band too, and why we put such a high priority on versatility, is I think different subject matters call for different styles of metalcore. So we don't want to be locked into like only able to do one style. It's like if there's a sad song, we want to be able to write a ballad. If there's a song where we're really mad, we want to write like a borderline deathcore
the brutal
track.
one.
We want to. So being able to encompass as many, we want the song to match the emotion of the lyrics.
So you're not listening to an album for songs, you're listening to an album for the story, the journey, the emotional connection,
and we want
kind of
the music to make you feel the same way the lyrics do.
Yeah. Well, this is what you guys have been honing in for the past couple of years, and it's great to see it coming to fruition, especially with this new release. Now, as you look towards the impending end of this year, heading into 2023, what's on the horizon for Fit for a King?
Lots and lots of touring. For early 2023, we have a European headline tour as well, and we're hoping with the success of this tour that we can get something worked out for Australia as well. With how things have been going this time, it's almost like something we are very dead set on making happen is like at least, at minimum, a headline tour over here, but we'd love to, like you said, play with some of the great Australian bands here like Polaris.
Yeah. Now, what is it about the Australian metalcore scene, do you think, that the world is latched onto? Because you can't log into a forum or Reddit or anything like that without the whole entire world frothing over Polaris or Alpha Wolf or Wind Waker or Northlane, Make Them Suffer. What do you reckon it is about Australian bands that sets us apart from the rest of the world?
I mean, I think it comes down to they're just so good. And after touring here again after 8 years, it reminds me of how hard it is to tour here.
Yeah.
It's a lot of travel.
So far, a
lot of travel. There's not very many cities, so it's hard to recoup the cost. Because you can only play X amount of like big cities. You could go play like smaller cities, but the shows will be smaller in kind.
And it was great to see you hitting up the regional places like Sunny Coast, like Newcastle, like Canberra, because normally when a band comes to Australia, they just do the capital city, East Coast kind of thing. But is that something that you want to do more of, like appeal to those regional places so you get to as many fans?
I think so, because it's a big strategy we've taken in the United States too. We play a lot of the smaller cities in the United States because we think they deserve some love. There's fans out there too, so it's a strategy I would love to do here as well if the finances afford it.
Exactly.
Might take a while to get to Darwin, but we'll see. I'd love to.
Well, look, you hit up Perth, you hit up Adelaide, and they were
Hobart as well.
And Hobart too. And they were all stoked to see a band of your caliber coming to visit them. So next time, if you want to save on costs, I got a couch. You can bunk up with me in my bed if you want to. You know, we'll do everything we can to bring the prices down. Is there anything you want to say to your ever-growing fan base, whether that be here in Australia or around the world watching this right now?
I mean, this is our 7th full-length album, and there's no words I could say that would express the amount of gratitude our entire band has for all the support we've received worldwide. And it just keeps growing, and with this new record, I feel confident we'll be welcoming a lot more new people to the group.
Ryan Kirby from Fit for a King, thank you so much for stopping by Wall of Sound.
Thank you.
That was really cool. You know, their show in Brisbane that we went to, it was really awesome. And, you know, after being in the mosh for those breakdowns, you're almost fit for an autopsy.
Our deathcore connoisseur Ricky Aaron's got to sit down one-on-one with Joe Bad from Fit for an Autopsy when they did their headline tour, and he even got the man and legend to give an AC/DC classic a deathcore makeover.
Now this time the difference is you guys are headlining in Australia. Yeah. How does it feel to be doing that?
It feels really good. It feels awesome. Like we're actually able to like kind of spread our wings and see how we do out here, see how it's been received, see how the album did out here, and so far I'm like, it's way exceeded my expectations from what I thought we were going to do out here. It's so awesome.
Yeah, wow, that's really interesting. I was at a Dayseeker show right here the other night as well, and they were also really surprised when they found out how well their album did in Australia as well. Is it sort of hard to like conceptualize given how far you are away in the US when you release your records?
Always. I'm always so worried, and that's the same thing with Europe, because right after we released that, we did our US tour, and then we did Europe, and I was really worried about Europe, and a lot of it was because like COVID, we didn't know if people were just going to show up to the shows or not, but I mean, the album must have did well enough because people were just like, well, forget that, we're coming out. It was awesome. Europe was awesome. Australia's been awesome. The US has been awesome. I'm really excited for how this album's been received so far.
Man, it's an amazing album. Probably the best Fit for an Autopsy album so far, at least in my opinion. I had a chat with Will Putney earlier in the year, the mastermind. Yes. We had such a really great chat about everything Fit for an Autopsy and all the other million bands in the scene that he's been doing. He and I talked about this sort of style of Fit for an Autopsy, and I know before you guys have talked about the term post-deathcore because you're kind of, you know, transcending beyond what deathcore currently offers. Yeah. You know, talk to me a bit about that for you.
Yeah, I think I really like the term post-deathcore because I come from a whole different genre. I didn't listen to like a lot of really heavy death metal, like crazy shit when I was like younger. I was super into like pop music and like emo music and stuff. So it was like kind of like a big change. So, but seeing the progression from Hellbound, which was like one of my favorite albums that Fit released that I wasn't on, and just seeing where we started and where we're at now, that progression, the change, and how people are so open to the idea of letting us do whatever the hell we want, and they're psyched about it. I'm super pumped, man. It's been really cool. It allows us to really kind of do our own thing. It allows us to step outside the box of just like being this deathcore band that's just like has this one sound and like the same record each time. Like, we as musicians and people who enjoy listening to music in general, when I listen to a band, I want to hear their progression as well. So I thoroughly enjoy the fact that we can do that and people are okay with it.
I really like that, and I think, being able to get outside and beyond that box of deathcore is really helpful. And where I saw that really come out for you guys was when you sort of stepped in for Randy Blythe for Lamb of God's concert, and so it's now like, Fit for an Autopsy sort of at that level now, sort of beyond this core scene, but being seen from this like general heavy metal perspective. That's kind of how it felt for me. What about you?
Yeah, I was freaking out when I got the phone call. I was just like, me? What, me? I got the phone call from Matt from Trivium. He just FaceTimed me. He's like, Randy wants to know if you'd be able to fill in. I was like, what? Unreal. It still blows my mind to this day. I can't. Oh my God.
That's unreal. And now that you guys are going to do some touring with Lamb of God, is that right?
Yes, Lamb of God, Killswitch Engage. There's going to be some other bands like jumping on and off for a couple days. Spirit Box, Motionless in White, and Animals as Leaders. Some huge names, and it's so cool that like a deathcore band like us is able to branch out and be able to fit in on a tour like this. And this is going to be our first time jumping into that kind of world like this. We've done tours with Trivium and Arch Enemy, and this is like that next step also. And it's like, oh my God, this is where we really have the test right now. So I'm really excited to do those tours.
Okay.
Tastefully.
Right. Now, I think you're going to be getting into that serious stage mode later, so I thought I'd give you the opportunity to just mess around a little bit more now.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you'd want to enter some Wall of Sound karaoke, because I know that you like to jump into a bit of deathcore karaoke for Backstreet Boys, which we've seen.
Yes.
I was wondering if there's any Australian tunes or anthems that you'd be dying to do a little bit of a section for us.
Holy shit, like what? You have to give me some ideas. My brain's not working right now.
What about some AC/DC?
I was going to say AC/DC's a good one too.
But it's already kind of heavy-ish. Not...
Yeah, but it's not heavy, dude. But it would sound sick.
Which one do we want to go with? Because I'm going to have to ask you to do a little section with your biggest Joe Deathcore voice.
TNT, down up. I'll do it.
Go for it.
TNT, I'm dynamite. TNT, I'll win no fight.
You heard it here first, the Wall of Sound. Joe, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us here at Wall of Sound. We're really looking forward to the show later tonight, and we can't wait to have you here again.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Damn. What's it going to take for a full version?
I know, right? Joe Bad, if you're watching this, come on, we really want it. We need it.
But the delectable deathcore delicacies don't stop there. Ricky also scored time with the demon himself, Will Ramos, from Lorna Shore.
If you ever thought that deathcore and science would not go together, check this out.
You've got to look after those pipes. I've seen all kinds of cameras go in there on YouTube. Your pipes are very famous at the moment, Will.
I know. Apparently, I found out they're actually going to be in a science book. So somewhere in the world, somebody will be taking a voice class on voice, whatever, anatomy. And then Will Ramos, I'm just going to be in there for some reason. They're going to be like, this is one person who happens to be able to phonate his voice however he do, insert giant big voice vocal words here. I'm like, wow, that's cool, let's go. I like that. I'm in a book. That's a shout out to my mom. I didn't read a lot of books, but now I'm in a book.
Honestly, Will, all I got out of that is that children at school are going to learn about deathcore from a young age, and I'm okay with that.
Me too. I'm like, let's go. Crazy. That was a crazy video, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I would 10 out of 10 do it again. But I remember sitting in that chair and just like being like, what the heck is happening right now? There's somebody in my nose, and I can feel them like hitting my, like, I don't even know. I never experienced anything like that. I was like, this is horrible. What the heck is happening? 10 out of 10 would do it again though.
You're a bloody good sport, Will, so good on you for that. I've got to wrap up, but I got one more question for you. Lorna Shore, Australia tour, when?
Man, I don't know, but I'm going to say 2023. I don't know for sure, but this is me manifesting it. If it happens, just know that it's because of this conversation. I'm manifesting 2023 because I really want to come to Australia. I want to eat some Australian food. I want to explore it, even if I don't even get the chance to explore it. I just want to be there. And we had one tour lined up and we totally fell through. So hopefully this time everything will work out.
Still no word on an Aussie tour yet from Lorna Shore, but we've got plenty to look forward to over the next few months.
In Australia next year is Knotfest. Heading up Australia's east coast at the end of March, we'll see the likes of Slipknot, Parkway Drive, Megadeth, Spirit Box, Not Loose, and so much more. This is the return of the big touring heavy music festival and hopefully the end of metal elitists all around the country.
And speaking of bands who have copped shit in previous months, Architects are heading back down to Australia to play their biggest shows to date, and Sam Carter has a personal message to all of his Australian fans.
I'm Sam Carter and I sing in the band Architects. You may have heard of us from the multiple times that we've been to Australia and the great shows that we've played with lots of bands that you know, like Parkway Drive, Amity Affliction, to name a few. My favourite band from Australia is Break Even, but they're not playing shows anymore. But we will be playing shows. We'll be there in February, and we would love it if you would come to the show and hang out with us and just watch us play really loud and hopefully really well. But yeah, see you in February, and thanks for your support.
And now for the dramatic season climax. Ebony, you scored an Australian exclusive interview with who?
I Prevail.
Yeah, I know you Prevail, but who was it with?
Let's just roll it. Roll the tape.
Hey, this is Steve and Eric from I Prevail.
And you're watching Wall of Sound TV.
Anyway, welcome back to Australia. It's been a long time. I missed you the last time you were here and I was so annoyed with myself, but you're back, you're playing sold out shows in like stadium-sized venues. How does it feel?
Well, it's fucking nuts, honestly. I mean, we went from, we had a tour in Europe that got halfway through and had to get canceled, and we flew back home. And I mean, just like everyone else, we weren't sure if it was going to be a couple weeks, a couple months, and it ended up being 2.5 years. And we had tours planned, and especially this being one of them, and just have to get pushed back. And so to finally be here, it's like, holy shit, it's happening.
A long time coming. And with like the last show as well, you're feeling a bit of relief. It's like, thank God it's the last one. It's going to be a great show. Do you put a little bit extra into the last one, or you're comfortable now because you've done a first few runs? Like, what's the go?
I think there's always a little extra something in the last show. You know, like you see although it's only 6 shows, so it's not like we're like tour tired or anything yet. Like we're still like really just kind of getting back in the swing of things. But I don't know. I feel like a little different energy just from like doing like our VIP. Like the kids are like a little extra. I don't know. I just feel a little something extra here today. I don't know what that is exactly. I don't know if that's like normal for Brisbane, but
they lined up.
It feels like it might be a special one tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we rocked up at like 4, and there was like a whole line of people out the door, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
they were very engaged out there. So
yeah.
I feel good.
Well, last time you were here, you played like the Triffid, beautiful venue.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not as big as Fortitude Valley Music Hall. Yeah. So, you know, how's the extra room on stage feel? You like it?
I mean, it's great.
Yeah,
I love it.
I mean, it's kind of nice. Like, this is kind of like, I'd say roughly the size of venue we're used to in the States, you know? But like, so I feel like the jump was like, because we did Australia, you know, the headlining run was like almost 5 years ago now. Like, we're probably not fully appreciating how far it's come, because like this is kind of our sweet spot in the States right now, but like coming back here, like it feels very normal and very very at home. So that's a good thing when you can build that other market, you know, that is not your home market, to be on par. And we're probably taking that for granted right now, but it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that also just allows us to give the fans the best show possible, because that's just what we've been doing in the States for the last pre-COVID, last couple of years, and now to be able to bring that same exact show and energy to here, it's just feels natural, you know.
This is your first international tour in a while, right? Mm-hmm. First time overseas in like since pre-COVID.
Yep. Since pre-COVID, yeah.
That's mad.
Since 2020, yeah.
Nice.
It's a good one to really get the full weight of the travel in like right away. It's like this is as tough as the travel gets for us. So we're like now, we have this back under our belt, like we can do anything,
Yeah, and I know that obviously touring is very hard, very stressful, lots of organising, especially like an overseas tour as well. And like burnout is 100% a real thing, and you guys have suffered through that before as well. Do you have any like techniques or things that you've learned to like help cope with that?
Well, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I think the last time I felt a burnout was like 2017 when we were doing Warped Tour, just in the States doing like, I think we did like 12 shows back to back, and I was a little tired. Yeah, exactly. That's the reaction I was looking for. But I think we're lucky enough when we go tour the States, we have a bus, and being able to have the off day, and like we got little friend groups that's like, oh, we're all going to catch a movie tonight, or like a couple of us are going to go to this bar, check out this place, or check out this comic book store, or whatever it may be. I think that really helps with your mental state, and especially when you're feeling low or missing your family and friends on the road. I think that's really, for me, that's really what helps. But
it's so normal. Like, go catch a movie, just chill out. Like, it's very far removed from like the rock star, lifestyle that is of old, and like
that's been dead for like 20 years.
I know, thank God.
I don't think they were even like the same species as us. Like you hear about like Motley Crue, like I don't think we could even make it a week like that.
I'd say I'm probably one of the ones that parties a little bit the most, let's say, out of the band, and there's no fucking way I'd be able to hang with Motley Crue and Kiss and all them, but hey, we're here, we're rocking. Time. Yeah, different breed.
We're like we need like 8 hours of sleep, and like we need to hydrate.
We got our white noise rolling on the bus, and
definitely. You've got your new album True Power, which is out now, and I know that Trauma was I don't want to say a traumatic experience, but like it was a trying to get over the hump, like of the second album. Did you have any challenges creating this album?
I'd say it was definitely the most like pressure, I feel like, in terms of going into it with the most expectations. Really? But weirdly, like even with that, I feel like just with the group that we had, it was the least worried I was about any record, or least like stressed, because I feel like we had just come into our own as writers and as musicians enough to the point where I feel like we were kind of naturally up to the challenge, and it felt like we just kind of were hitting our stride with the work we did on Trauma. So while it was the most pressure, I do feel like from start to back, I had like the least amount of like uncertainty in myself about it, which every artist goes through, when you're creating. It's like, I feel like I had the least amount of that this time. And up until the very end, as stressful as it was like a very confident place, at least for me personally.
Absolutely. I agree with everything you just said. I think especially with not having to hurry and rush out back onto a tour, not like we had like 30 days to get something done, or we were doing writing in bits and pieces. I think that really helped us, especially going off of Trauma and being a little more experimental with our sound. I think now with True Power, we've really had time to really step into our own, and all these things that we tried with this record, we were able to really expand on, or like dial it in. And
Do you think being twice Grammy nominated, did that help being like, cool, we've got some validation, which is like really important, obviously on an international scale as well? You're like, great, they like it, let's keep doing what we want.
Yeah, I feel like Trauma was, like Eric said, like our biggest step forward, like creatively, in terms of just kind of doing stuff outside the box and really pushing ourselves. And that one was like, I remember being stressful, like, or just having this component of like, are the fans going to come along with us? Like, we didn't really know, like, because it was a bit out there, but we didn't care. We were just like, this is what we wanted to make, and we'll let, and knowing that did go really well, and that was like accepted, it was kind of like a signal to just like, you guys want more of that? We'll just like, now we can really step on the gas and like be as creatively free as we want. And it's really validating and kind of freeing to be able to go into a record with that mindset.
And to the Grammy noms, I mean, really fucking cool. But it was more of like, oh shit, that's sweet. All right, let's keep doing what we're doing. So I'm just,
Thank you. We'll keep going.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't really get like it's amazing, but you can't really get like too enamored with that because you can't. It's not something that's really controllable, and like you just have to make the best thing you can. And you know, our thing was always just trying to create this record, like do something that felt like Grammy worthy to us. Like you can never really control what the you know, the rooms are going to be like and at a given time when your record comes out. So just trying to make something that to us felt like was worthy is really all we could try to do this record.
And it's weird. Awards for art, it's kind of weird. So it's just kind of like, thanks, tip of the cap. Let's just keep rolling.
Yeah, exactly. And you did get best metal performance for Bow Down, which is my gym song.
Hell yeah.
It's great. Also, although like Come and Get It is still up there as well. Just that, ooh, it's good.
I think you're going to like the one tonight.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, like, what's, you know, on par with that in this new album for you guys? Like the big gym song, breakdown song. What do you reckon?
I mean, probably Body Bag is definitely up there. And that obviously came out first on the record, so we definitely wanted to send that message that like what this record was going to be about. I mean, probably self-destruction too. Yeah, self-destruction.
I think self-destruction or oh my god,
Choke.
Many. Choke. Yeah, I feel like those are the two that are like, fuck you, one more rep, let's go.
Just pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nice. And if Lifelines was your debut and then Trauma was your like, let's get over the hump, second album, challenging, let's get it out, what is True Power to you guys?
I think it's just the next evolution and expansion of who we are as a band, and being able to continue trying new things with our music, and it's still feeling like, oh yeah, that's I Prevail, and never oh, that was strange. But I really think this is just the next step, evolution, all those keywords of I Prevail.
You can set here.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like, if you would have asked me when we put Trauma out, I thought that was our best work and like arguably our, you know, life's work to that point. And I feel the same way about True Power now. Like I would have never, at the time we put Trauma out, I would have never figured out how we would have done the next thing at that time. But like you just naturally kind of evolve into that as an artist when you're doing things right. And I feel like we did that this time. Like we found our next thing to kind of explore musically, lyrically. So I feel like it's our best work to date, no doubt.
Thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
I'll let you meditate. We're here in the green room. I don't want to intrude too much longer. So yeah, thank you so much. This is great.
Thanks for having us.
Hell yeah, it's fun.
Well done, Ebony. No awkward handshakes for that one?
Never again.
Can we do one more just in
No.
case?
No.
Well, that brings us to the end of the pilot series of Wall of Sound TV. Don't forget to like, subscribe, get all across our YouTube channel, and tell us if you want to see more of this.
Yeah, you know, if you want to write our jokes for next season, that'd be great.
If you want to sponsor, get involved. Look, we have so many ideas at Wall of Sound that we would love to bring to life, and it all comes down to you. If this is something you want to see continue, tell us. Let us know across all of our socials, Wall of Sound AU. Like, comment on the videos across YouTube as well, and who knows where we'll end up.
And don't forget, we have the bumper edition of the Digimag coming out for Good Things Festival, where we cover every band from the lineup. Should be good. Should be one for the trophy room.
Right next to that nugget of yours.
Yep.
My name is Brownie.
I'm Ebony.
And this has been
Wall of Sound TV.